Reindustrialization and Realignment, a compressed outlook for the West, 2025 to 2028, how Trump's economic agenda, the AI revolution, and global power reordering could shatter the post-war order in 3 years or less. Executive Summary. Over the next 5 years, potentially as few as 3, the West could undergo a rapid and irreversible transformation driven by a convergence of 3 powerful forces: the return of Trump-era economic nationalism, the fracturing of the globalist post-war rules-based order, and the exponential rise of artificial intelligence. This report outlines a compressed geopolitical and economic forecast for the West, framed around the revival of the American industrial economy and the concurrent unraveling of European coherence. Rather than a slow decline or gradual evolution, we may be entering an era of accelerated breakdown and realignment. Trump's economic plan, described as a direct assault on the modern British financial empire and globalist economic ideology, provides a blueprint for reordering domestic economies and redefining international relations. The ripple effects will be felt across Europe, the global South, and Asia, resulting in a fractured, multipolar world. Core drivers of change. 1. Rejection of globalist economic principles. Shift from free trade to protectionism via tariffs and industrial policy. War on cheap labor, both through immigration controls and reassuring. Focus on national sovereignty in economic affairs, rejecting multilateral controls. 2. Revival of the American system of political economy. Return to production, engineering, and infrastructure over finance and services. Investment in working and middle-class wage growth as a metric of real progress. Pushback against cultural decay and consumerist distraction. 3. Cultural and institutional upheaval. Targeting of woke culture and bureaucratic inefficiencies. Education reform prioritizing math, science, history, and classical arts. Elimination or gutting of institutions seen as vehicles for globalist ideology. Projected outcomes, 2025 to 2028. United States. By 2026, industrial revival drives job creation in autos, energy, and raw materials. Wage growth improves for blue-collar and middle-tier jobs. Political polarization intensifies as legacy institutions resist change. U.S. reasserts economic sovereignty, global capital flows return to domestic assets. Western Europe. Internal collapse accelerates, Germany deindustrializes, France faces mass unrest. ECB monetary constraints stifle national flexibility. EU unity fractures under strain, southern and eastern states seek alternatives. Cultural unrest intensifies as social safety nets become unsustainable. Canada and Australia. Torn between U.S. alignment and legacy globalist commitments. Political instability likely, especially around immigration, energy, and manufacturing. Global consequences. 1. Collapse or transformation of the rules-based order. Western multilateral institutions, WTO, IMF, EU. Lose authority. Rise of bilateralism and regional pacts. 2. Former colonies and the global South. Face extraction pressure as West seeks lifelines. Risk of collapse in key economies as Europe reverts to neo-colonial instincts. China, Russia, India offer alternative development models and digital sovereignty. 3. Strategic realignment. NATO weakens without American enthusiasm. EU becomes ungovernable as economic disparities grow. Eastern and Southern Europe drift toward Eastern-aligned spheres. V. Scenario spectrum, from controlled realignment to systemic disintegration. Baseline outlook, most likely. U.S. revives through strategic reindustrialization. Europe fragments economically and politically. Global South asserts new agency. Global power shifts toward a multipolar order. Worst-case acceleration scenario, AI-driven collapse. In a highly compressed future enabled by AI outpaces governance, institutions fail to adapt. U.S. leverages AI to automate and hyperscale reindustrialization. Europe collapses under the weight of regulation, energy scarcity, and ideological rigidity. former colonies exploited with AI-enhanced extraction methods. China and Russia absorb disillusioned European states via digital infrastructure and energy diplomacy. By 2027, the post-World War II order is dismantled entirely. A patchwork of AI-aligned spheres emerges. This is not the most probable scenario, but elements of it are unfolding already. If AI's trajectory continues unchecked, the window for managed realignment may close far sooner than anticipated. Conclusion. The coming years will define the post-globalist era. Trump's economic blueprint represents not only an American revival, but a challenge to decades of Western orthodoxy. The response of Europe and the rest of the West will determine whether this becomes a period of painful rebirth or cascading collapse. AI ensures that the margin for error is rapidly shrinking. The world has entered a new cycle, compressed, chaotic, and driven not by treaties or tradition, but by will, intelligence, and speed.